Yeah, good day everyone. I'm Marjorie to one be precious. I will be presenting the topic titled Vestigiality, the myth and reality. Now, if you've had a prior knowledge of biology or some evolution studies, you would bear witness with me that you have heard or come across a concept called vestigial structures or vestigiality. And prior to now, vestigial structures have been said to be structures whose functions have completely been lost, right? But today, what I'm going to do is to try and bring clarification on certain facts and also debunking the myth about vestigial structures. But what you need to know is vestigial structures are structures which have not necessarily lost their function, but based on evolutionary understanding, we might see that it might not be as useful as they used to be. Now, based on lack of understanding or proper understanding from previous scientists, we have not been able to come to a proper understanding of what the structures are and what they really do. And so they have been termed as useless or vestigial. Now, just for your further reading, you can just check up names like Charles Darwin, William Sturner on the concept of vestigiality. You can check up the book Descent of Man by Charles Darwin, written in 1871. He did a good job in explaining what vestigial structures are. Now, what are the myths? Myth is vestigial structures are useless structures. You lost complete function and are not as useful as we could imagine them to be. But the reality is, in modern time, we've come to realize that vestigial structures are not necessarily useless structures. They are structures which might have lost their original function or have retained a little bit of their original function or have evolved to form new functions. All right. Now, I'll be using certain structures, anatomical, physiological, biochemical, molecular structures to explain why vestigial structures are not exactly useless, e.g., the appendix, or popularly known as the vermiform appendix. It is a structure in the human body which is said to be useless, meaning that it has no particular function. And in the case of inflammation called appendicitis, it's expected to do a surgery called appendectomy, meaning the removal of the appendix. But we've actually found that appendix in herbivores have been important for the help of digestion of certain herbivorous diets, such as cellulose. And in other organisms, we've seen that the pouch called the appendix has actually been seen to store important floras or bacteria that help in preventing and help and fighting diseases such as dysentery in humans and other organisms. We have structures like the coccyx. The coccyx is also called a tailbone. In monkeys, we have a long extended bone which forms the tail and helps them for motility and balance, right? When human beings, it has been compressed and absorbed into your vertebral column, but still not useless. Why? Because we found that the coccyx, the tailbone, has been as it serves as a very important anchor for important muscles that keep the body stable, right? And give strength to the pelvic area. Now we have other structures such as the wisdom teeth and many other ones, but because for the sake of time, we just use that. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Now, for the physiological functions, we have such functions such as the goosebumps, hiccuping, palmar grasp reflex. Now, I'll just talk about the goosebumps and hiccups. Now, goosebumps in previous species or organisms that have existed before us, as evolution will say, right? They have used this system, goosebump, as a means to scare away prey by elevating the hair on their skin and making them appear as if they are bigger than they usually are. And of course, scaring off prey. But that might have been a function in many organisms. But a new function has actually been seen to be relevant in human beings. Now, there's a muscle found below the skin, which is responsible for contracting on exposure to cold that causes the hair follicle to rise and causing the hair on the skin to stand. And what this does is it traps an extra layer of hair trying to keep the human body warm. So it therefore means that the goosebump is actually your body's reaction to try to keep you warm. So not exactly useless, you'd say. Now, the hiccuping is one function that helps in respiration, seen to be the major type of respiration in infants, even after birth. And it can be seen in previous species such as tadpoles as their major way of respiring. Now we have one other molecular structure such as the L granulolactate oxidase, which is a particular gene, not completely functional in humans, but has been seen to helps to produce enzymes that are responsible for the production of vitamin C. And all of this, therefore, tells you that many of these structures are not exactly useless. They just are not as functional as you would think they are. But in the long run, you get to see that they are very, very useful. I hope you understand, you've come to understand that these structures are not useless, but they've just not been understood. Thank you very much for listening.